Today we're having Ann Gillies. She's an assistant professor at CMU. And Ann got involved with us just this year. We're like totally excited to have her. So I presented in her class because we recruit a lot of volunteers from the education department at CMU. So I presented to Ann's class, and she, I will say to my complete joy, was enthusiastic about wanting to get involved with our program. So she's come in and she's evaluated our program to just take a look at what's going on, looking at the kids, maybe doing some individual evaluation with the kids. And it's a long-time need of ours. This training is called behavior management, but it's, I know many of our kids perform great, really well when you're working with them, and I know most of you are here because you're passionate about working with kids. But the idea behind this is to maybe give some skills to the volunteers if you have a student that is less than willing to move forward with working on homework or the basic skill work. So just some little tricks of the trade that Ann can share with you on trying to help make it a more successful tutoring session and help you have a better experience and engage the student during the entire time. Okay, did I forget anything? Yeah, so again, very heartfelt thank you to Ann for being here and sharing with you guys today. Okay, thanks, Ann.
Thank you. Well, thank you for inviting me, and I just wanted to tell you that my impressions of Riverside, the few times that I've been here, and several times actually, have been so totally impressive that I really am privileged to be here and work with you, and the fact that you volunteer your time, and you know, you've got young people through retired people, and you're doing wonderful, wonderful things with kids, and it's a beautiful thing to watch from the outside, just an objective perspective coming in and just seeing. The biggest and most impressive thing to me has been just how happy the kids are. And they've been in school all day. They come here, and every day I've been here, they are smiling, they're running through the door, they're looking for you guys. It's beautiful. It is such a beautiful place to be and really neat things to see. So I'm just here. I have been a classroom teacher for students with disabilities for the last 15 years, elementary age. I've taught students pre-K through 5th grade with severe disabilities. So I've got a lot of experience, practical experience, dealing with behaviors, dealing with having to figure out how to motivate children to engage in learning, trying to redirect students into learning. So I've got a lot of practical experience with lots of different kids, abilities, kids with different ability levels, mostly at the elementary school age, but also some middle and high school experience as well. So I'm just here today to give you some general information, to share with you some of the research that's out there, current research about kids' attention and where they are in their ability to focus, and then just give you some little ideas of things to do with your student to build your relationship with your student and to make it more likely that that student's going to engage longer. So we're behavior management, and please stop me at any time and ask questions. I can clarify things as we go along. Please, so just ask questions and make comments throughout. I appreciate that. So what we know about kids, you have your students for 60 consecutive minutes. And at the elementary school aged level, that's a lot of minutes. And developmentally, kids who are elementary school aged do not have the ability to sit still and sit focused the entire 60 consecutive minutes. So that's not even an expectation that we should have for kids. At this age, we know that they're not able to just sit still, focus on the work, and consistently work for 60 minutes straight. Now, saying that, I've observed some of you with your tutors, and you guys are pretty focused and pretty focused on the learning for the whole tutoring time. That doesn't mean that kids are just sitting still and focused on the work the whole time, but you're actively engaging in learning. So to me, that is extremely impressive. So you do some of these behavior management strategies naturally, and the relationships that you have already established with your students are strong, or else they wouldn't do that. So sustained attention at this age is not yet fully developed. We know that developmentally these kids really should not be expected for 60 consecutive minutes to focus the whole time. And then to refocus, that's a lot of your job, is to kind of just keep refocusing the student to the work at hand. We have to really motivate that student to want to refocus. So motivation is a big key here as well. So while tutoring, a lot of elementary school aged students are not intrinsically motivated to do reading and math. It may not be all that rewarding for them to just want to read and want to do math problems. So a lot of the times we motivate kids through external sorts of things, games, fun activities, reinforcing them, getting excited about the activity. We do a lot as tutors, you guys do, to keep your kids motivated and focused on the task and to redirect their attention to the task. And the lack of motivation, aside from developmentally kids, it's hard for them to sit and focus the whole time. Sometimes they don't understand the task. Sometimes the task is too hard. It might be at a level that's above their instructional level. You might be working with a student with appropriate grade level materials, but they might be performing below grade level. So even though it's the same grade material, they might be a little bit below, so the task might be hard. They might not know what to do to complete the task. They might not have the skills. They also might think that the task that you're doing in reading and math is boring or dull. They might have had a bad day at school or a really rough morning at home. So if they've got things on their mind, they're really going to be less likely to be motivated to want to engage in reading and math if they're worried about their relationship with their parents, or if they got in trouble, or something bad happened at school, they got in trouble at school, or they might be tired. Kids might be tired because of the long school day, or they might not have slept well throughout the night. That affects a student's ability to focus. That affects their motivation to want to work on reading and math tasks. So there's a lot of variables to consider that affect a student's motivation, which affects their ability to focus on the tasks that you want them to complete. A lot of things to consider, a lot of variables. And you're fighting against a lot of pretty powerful forces sometimes. You've got this curriculum in reading and math that you want to do, but if a student is tired or hungry or bored, those are strong forces fighting against your purpose of being there and working through those tasks. So your job is a hard one. Everybody recognizes that. But like I said, you've done an amazing job and some really neat things are happening here. So you guys are definitely skilled and know your students. So what do we do to make the tutoring session more motivating and more interesting and more engaging so that students are more likely to spend more minutes of that 60 minutes on task, on the activities that you want them to focus on? So we're going to talk about quick, short, fun, and motivating breaks. Not breaking from the table and leaving and doing something else, but actual breaks, sitting at the tutoring session table or wherever you're sitting together, not even leaving the desk, but just sitting between instructional activities, taking either a couple of seconds up to a couple of minutes to do something different, do something fun, engaging, motivating, that the student is going to really enjoy. And for them, it's like a break. So the other important piece of this is that you and your tutee are doing this activity together, and you are having fun together, which really strengthens your relationship and strengthens the bond that you have. So it's not just necessarily a tutor-tutee relationship. It's more of we have a good time together, I trust you, you know what I like, we're sharing an experience together that's really fun. And these can last 30 seconds, really quick, short, mini breaks in between your reading and math instruction is what I'm proposing. Okay, so if we look at the research about kids at this age need breaks throughout their school day to improve concentration. So there's been a lot of research done in this area, and to get students to concentrate, it's advised to give them little breaks, doing different things that they enjoy. Giving students breaks also helps increase the number of minutes the kids are on task, on the activities that you want them to do. And breaks are also related to other positive classroom behaviors, like increased confidence and self-esteem and positive attitude. So research shows us that by giving kids breaks, good things are going to happen and more work can be done. Some people might feel that you're taking time away from instruction when you're taking these breaks, but in actuality, taking those breaks increases the likelihood that time that you spend on tasks is going to be better quality, and that you're going to have more minutes, more time on task. So breaks are important to improve concentration and even information retention, memory. So these are just some tools of the trade, some strategies that you can use within your tutoring session. And you're tutoring for 60 minutes, you might have 10 breaks within a 60-minute period. You might have 1 break. You might have 5. Maybe it depends on the day. If your student is especially distracted, you might have a lot more breaks that day. Your student is nice and calm and relaxed and comfortable, you might not have any breaks that day. So the schedule in which you take these little breaks is dependent upon you as the tutor and the way you feel the tutoring session is going and how the student is acting. So these are just some ideas. You could do some quick games in between your tasks, like charades. Everybody know what charades is? You're acting out something, and you can do this sitting in your seat. I spy. You can sit in the room and say, I spy something purple. And your student has to look around and say, is it that? Nope. Is it this? Yep. I spy game. Simon says. Simon says, put your hands on your head. Simon says, put your hands behind your back. But all these kinds of different things you could do at your seat. You don't have to get up. It doesn't have to be disruptive. Hand clapping games, and you've seen like a lot of elementary school age kids doing hand clapping games or like this. And again, that can be nice and quiet, but something that you and your tutor do together sitting at the table. And these kinds of things, you could do you each could take a turn picking an item to play charades with. That would take less than a minute. An I Spy game would take less than a minute. Simon Says, you could do 5 trials of Simon Says. That would probably take about 30 seconds. And hand clapping games, 15, 20, 30 seconds. Longer if they're having fun, if you'd like to continue it. But these are breaks that can be really, really short and quick. Not intended to interrupt your tutoring session, but to enhance it. To give the tutee a little bit of a break so that it's more likely that they're going to want to refocus. Other strategies you could do are some relaxation games, some breathing exercises. Like you smell the roses and you blow out the candles. So those kinds of breathing exercises, which is good for body regulation as well. So it's just kind of a break from what you're doing, and it kind of helps regulate the body. Some progressive muscle relaxation, where you talk through feel your fingertips. Your fingertips are light. Now, feel the joints in your fingers. They're relaxing. Now your hands, relax your hands. Now how about your arms? You kind of talk through a muscle relaxation, which is kind of, and that's kind of a meditation type of thing too. Imagery-based relaxation. You can tell a story that's very peaceful, and you tell it in a very calm and quiet, soothing voice. Neutral stories. You could have a book, like one of your students' favorites. You could read a couple pages of one of your students' favorite books. Meditation. Closing your eyes and thinking about something, your favorite place or your favorite person. Talking your student through that. And stretches. Even sitting in your seat, doing side stretches, touching your toes. And we know that exercise too is really, really, really important for students. It's also, research has also shown that students learn through movement, especially at this age level. So they need to move around. It's almost like they have to. Some of the kids have to. And you've got students, I'm sure, who are dealing with issues like attention deficit disorder, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and kids especially who are prone to behaviors like that and are very, very easily distractible, they need to move around. So you could read a passage and then take a mini break and have him touch his toes 10 times and count while you're doing it. That's math. So even in your seat, 30 seconds to a couple of minutes, little short break throughout your session. These are ideas that you can do, things that you can do with your student. Okay, some other break strategies, some fine motor activities. I've seen a lot of people work on the whiteboards, and that's a really nice way to mix up the tutoring session and introduce some kind of fun things to do. And I see you use the whiteboard in a very constructive way. You could also draw pictures on the whiteboard. That could be a break. Making pictures out of doodles. That would be you take the whiteboard and just make a random mark, hand it to the student, and they have to make a picture out of the random mark that you just made. So that's like a game. And that's really good for fine motor strengthening, handwriting. So it's fun in that you're making some really neat object, but at the same time, it's reinforcing a lot of other important skills. Fun worksheets and coloring sheets. A lot of students find a lot of enjoyment out of coloring. Play-Doh to play with, and you can also use that instructionally. You can make letters out of Play-Doh, and the letters you can make words, you can make the student's name, you can make little balls that you count with or multiply with, little manipulatives. And for students to use their hands with Play-Doh is a really, really good sensory strategy too. Again, it's that movement that really helps students focus. So if you feel like, I don't know about these breaks because I feel like it's gonna take the focus away from the instruction, it really doesn't. As a matter of fact, it enhances your ability to help refocus your student. And if they're doing things like exercise, stretching, moving, squishing Play-Doh with their hands, that affects their bodies in that it gets their bodies even more ready to learn or helps them redirect their bodies to be able to focus more. So these are actually very kind of therapeutic things to do. Squeezy balls too. Have you seen the stress balls or the koosh balls that have the, they're tickly and they're fun to hold? And you could even continue with your reading and let the student hold the ball as long as it isn't a distraction. Or you could just bring the ball out for little mini breaks. Another important thing to incorporate into your tutoring session every day is praise and celebrations of learning. High fives, pats on the back. There's a lot of neat cheers that you can find on the internet, like Dr. Jean's. I know Dr. Jean, I'm a teacher. There's a lot of ex-teachers here. She does things like, you did amazing reading. I'm gonna give you a squirt of fantastic. Fantastic. So there's like a million of these things. And they're corny, you think, oh my gosh. But the kids love them. They love that kind of thing. And they might even ask for it. Oh, I think I need some squirt of fantastic. You say, okay, finish this passage. You're getting a squirt of fantastic. You watch, they know it's coming. It's fun, it's a little break. They read it. Oh, fantastic. So that's a cheer. And you can find those online. They're funny. There's Spider-Man cheers, Batman cheers, Harry Potter cheers.
And what's her name, Dr.?
Dr. Jean. So remember, when you're tutoring, you are the authority. You are the boss. You are the one that sets the tone of the tutoring session. You have a goal in mind. You are the one who needs to be firm to really establish that relationship. But at the same time, it's really respectful and really appropriate if we really consider the students and give them a voice. Let them have a say in when they get breaks, how often they get breaks, what the breaks are. You guys definitely can negotiate. The student might say, hey, I want to play ball for 5 minutes. Okay. Or play with the squeezy ball for 5 minutes. Well, let's make a deal. If you finish this math page, you can have the squeezy ball for 1 minute. And then we're going to do some math flashcards. So if you finish the flashcards, you're going to get the ball for another minute. Like you can negotiate. But to have the student have a little bit of control within the tutoring session is a really good idea. That really, really helps behavior. If you give them a little bit of control, let them make some choices. And you also, if you incorporate more kind of fun breaks within your tutoring session, you become this really reinforcing person. You become the person with whom the fun stuff is associated with. So at first it's going to be the ball, it's going to be the Play-Doh, it's going to be the games, but eventually that kind of fun stuff translates into you. And you already are this wonderful, positive person in these kids' lives. Doing these sorts of fun things are just, it's going to enhance your relationship even more. And when kids like you, they want to do things for you. So they're more likely to sit for longer, be redirected easier if you are a person with whom they enjoy a lot of different things with during that tutoring session. Not to say that this is going to fix every behavior, because it will not. You will certainly have challenging behaviors to deal with sometimes. That's just how it is. But using the use of breaks, these little ideas, will definitely enhance your relationship with kids. It will help you be able to get more time on task. And it's a positive and a fun way to spend the hour with your student. So we are the service providers. Children are our customers, our consumers, and we work for them. So to stay student-centered is really, really important. The breaks should be centered around the student. The type of break that you do should be reinforcing to that student. You don't want to force a student to play with Play-Doh if they don't want to. That defeats the purpose. You have a lot of things that you can introduce to them, but ultimately the breaks should be something that they enjoy. So we definitely want to stay student-centered and focusing on where students are, working with their strengths, and just finding things that they like to do that help bond you as tutor and tutee. So we passed out some surveys a couple weeks ago, and you all wrote some really, really insightful things in response to the survey questions. So some of these statements will address quite a few of the comments made on the survey. Providing short and fun breaks throughout your tutoring session will increase the likelihood that your students are going to want to participate. So one of the comments was, what do I do when a student doesn't want to participate? Well, you make it a little bit more fun. Make the engaging with the student a little bit more exciting. You want to motivate that student to want to participate, because you can't force them. You can try with a very authoritarian voice and I'm going to write you up if you don't do this, but we know what the research shows that negative approach is not the best way. We can certainly change behavior and motivate kids in a positive way. We definitely want to do it positive before we turn to negative. Another comment was that sometimes the students are disrespectful, which is very common with this age group. My thinking is that if you strengthen your relationship with that student through engagement in these fun activities, the disrespectful piece is going to lessen, because they look at you in a different way. If you engage with them in fun activities and they know fun things are coming and they're going to enjoy sometimes, even if they don't want to do some of the reading, they know the respect issue, I think, is addressed when you incorporate these really kind of fun and exciting activities during the time that you spend with the tutee. Some students refuse to work. When students know they can work for something they like, they're more likely to do the work. So if you have with you Play-Doh and you have it on the desk and the student sees that, and you let them know, once this task is done, you're going to get the Play-Doh. So they're working for something. That's motivator. That motivates students. That, okay, they say I can do this, they see the Play-Doh, they want to do it, they're more likely to do the work instead of refuse, knowing that they're going to get to do something they want in a couple of minutes. Some students you wrote on the survey don't express a lot of interest in the reading and the math activities. Again, if they know that they're going to do something fun, it's more likely they will do the reading and math tasks even if they don't want to, because they know that something fun is going to come right after. And then completing tasks as well. If you do 3 or 4 trials of Simon Says and they love it, they're completing the task, they're not finished, you want to play Simon Says some more? If you want to do some more, you got to finish. Okay. It's more likely they're going to finish knowing they're going to do more trials of Simon Says because they really like that game. They're going to get it done. That way you can play a couple more trials of the game. And even boring tasks too. Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't say this is boring, but students feel bored. But if you have something an activity that they love to do, it's not boring, waiting right here at the table, they're going to be more likely to do the boring thing. And I really am impressed with the way that you structure your tutoring session, in that the first 5 or 10 minutes is dedicated to connecting with that child and talking about their day and how are you feeling and are you excited for Halloween? And that is amazing. That's an amazing thing to take time to do. And that's one of my favorite parts of your tutoring session. If a student opens up to you and confides in you about problems that they're having at home, please listen. If you're concerned, please tell Joy. And even if you suspect abuse, you are required by law to report that. And abuse comes in many forms: physical, sexual, neglect, emotional, psychological. There's a lot of different forms of abuse. If you even suspect any one of these forms of abuse, you are required by law to report that. So please talk to Joy.
And it goes for adults too.
Oh, absolutely.
July 1st. I work in adult services, so it's fine.
Perfect. Thank you. So you're a good resource. Can you help identify signs of, if somebody had a question like, I'm not really sure, but this is what I saw?
They can always call. It's best to call the person who observed it. That's the best person to call. The person who observes it is the best person to make that call to the child protection.
Okay. And even if you're not sure,
even with adults, they keep who called
confidential.
Anonymous. Yeah, they don't ever tell. Unless it came to court or something.
Yeah. But that's an important piece, and the more connected you get with your students, the more likely you're going to hear some really personal things. So as long as you're comfortable with that, it's really good for the student to have somebody to talk to and confide in. But if you're uncomfortable or something comes about, please talk to Joy about that. And when you engage in fun breaks with your students, it definitely strengthens the connection that you have together and the relationship. And with a strong connected relationship, you can do miracles with kids. Miracles. They'll work amazingly for you. They'll try their hardest. They'll take risks. They'll do things they don't want to do. And a good way to strengthen the relationship that you already have is to incorporate more fun, reinforcing, motivating activities while you're working together. And having fun together builds your relationship, establishes trust, makes students feel safe and secure, and then good things happen as a result. So these other kinds of things, reminders, did you want to talk about that? Great.
Okay, I'll just mention a couple things, guys. You guys know about these rec reward cards already that are in the, they're in the little cups on the tables? Does everyone in here know what they are? Okay, we're going to amend them a little, just so you know. A lot of these things that Anna's talked about, you guys are more than welcome to start them today or tomorrow if you're tutoring this week. We're going to have all the things changed over by Monday, just because a lot of people that haven't participated in the presentation, we want them give them time to view this. So we're going to amend this little card where instead of just filling it out, you have the option of filling in 3 little stars at the bottom with stickers. Okay, so another one of those options is, hey, if you keep working, I'll give you another sticker on your card. So maybe they have to get 3 stickers from you the entire night to be able to put this card in the box. Okay, So just look for those in the cups, and the stars will be in there too. Okay. I had put this on here before, this negative behavior report, which I've explained to you guys before, but I don't want to talk about that today. It seems totally inappropriate to me right now because we're talking about positive, great relationships with the kids. If you come here with that enthusiasm, that passion to make a difference with the kids, and like Ann said, develop that relationship, and it's about being positive, I don't think we'll, maybe you can let staff know or fill one of these out, but I feel like our approach is positive, happy people.
Can you just put it in like the comments? The tutor comments?
You can still fill these out.
Okay.
Okay. So Melissa asked, so you know what this is. Yeah. So the negative behavior is student performance card. You can fill these out. It doesn't have to be like a 10 for really bad behavior. You can fill it out on any level. So if you have something with the behavior of a student that you want to report to staff, fill this out and then just hand it to one of the staff at the end of the night. Okay? It doesn't have to be a 10, like the kid is like totally awful. It could be a 6 at any level. On these, it's negative behavior to other students, negative behavior to tutor, or doesn't stay on task. It's for us to help us know how students are performing during the tutoring session. Okay? So fill them out if you need them. They're in the first pocket of the student folder where the writing journal is. Any questions? Okay. Play-Doh. We are going to have Play-Doh, okay? It was so funny because the staff all talked about this with the Play-Doh, and we're like, oh my gosh, Play-Doh. And I'm like, I love Play-Doh. So, and every kid loves Play-Doh, right? So it's like, we got to get Play-Doh. I'm going to ask you though, please, please, please use it. Just please, please, please be careful if you're using it in this room or the multi-purpose room where there's carpet. Just try to keep it off the floor. I just, well, imagine the little notes we're going to get if we're like scraping Play-Doh off the carpet.
Maybe we can just have them use it on a piece of paper. Keep it on a
more what I envision is like rolling out little balls and then them rolling onto the floor. That's kind of what's going in my head. That's going to happen, the little pieces. Okay, yeah, so we'll see. Just be careful with it. I totally love this idea, right? Everyone loves Play-Doh. Also, when we were visiting about this, you can use these for one of your breaks. You can also utilize it, one of the suggestions Ann originally made was when you're reading with kids and you want to do some comprehension, sometimes if you're doing characters from the book or animals from the book would be characters, or some of the, like do a tree or a ball or however you want to use it as a comprehension tool also to help engage them with the story of the book in some way. That's an idea. But if you want to just utilize it for brain breaks and make fun little characters, have at it. I think it's great. Okay. I put on here also the role of the rec staff. We're asking you guys to use this positive, great experience with the kids, but please know we're here for you. So if you have challenging behaviors or if you're matched with a student you don't feel is the right fit for you, please let us know, okay? It's important for us for you guys to have a great experience. It's important for us to keep you coming back, for you to have a nice opinion about the Riverside Educational Center. And so you need to give us feedback if there's anything that needs to be changing with the way that things are set up or the students that you're assigned to, okay? You guys have any questions? Yes.
I have a question about the stickers. When they see these really neat stickers go on these cards, my first thought is they're probably going to want to keep those stickers. But that can be explained through if they know this book. But what if they say, what do I get for those stickers? What does that mean?
Hey, so I'll tell you right now, if they're like, I want the stickers, give them the sticker and just fill in the stars. You guys just coloring them in or do whatever, and you can just initial it. Or, I mean, you're filling out the card, so if it goes in the box, we know what's going on. So if they'd rather have them stuck to their shirt or on their, notebook or whatever, I totally get it, right? Kids love stickers.
Yeah.
So you can decide what that is. If you get done at the end of the night and you say, hey, let's just put all 3 stickers on there, you've been like totally amazing. But if you're like, it's 5:50 and you're like, come on, let's finish your work. and you want to say, hey, I'll give you a sticker if you finish this. And then you want to give them a sticker throughout the session. I don't care if you give them all 3 stickers by 5 o'clock if you've got them engaged. So you make the call on how you
They don't
want.
have to be adhesive to that.
No,
And then put
yeah,
them
no,
up, because
right,
that goes
that's,
away.
yeah, no. Maybe they give you a sticker, give them a sticker, I don't know.
And do you
So.
want us to get those for you, and so you folks don't have to supply them? I know budgets are.
If you want to give us stickers, I would love stickers. That would be wonderful. Thank you for offering, because you're right, kids love stickers. I mean, I think it's just like a great motivator. I think I like stickers. I like Play-Doh and I like stickers.
Scratch and sniff.
Scratch and stuff, there you go.
So what happens when the child, has one of these that's been completed and turned in, and what's the payoff? Right.
Oh yeah, so I'm looking, Leslie, and like every 2 weeks, they pick on it's a Thursday night, so it's not a night that any of the volunteers are here. They got these all in the box and they pull out like 15 of them, and the kids win little prizes. So we had some tickets to Bananas donated, we've had some bookmarks, just some kind of like little inexpensive, yeah, so if you have any loot sitting around the house that you would like to give for a,
So do the stickered cards get better presents, better rewards? The stickered.
I'm gonna say
ones go in
no.
a different box?
no, just anyone that's filled out is an equal pull.
And maybe it gives them just an extra push.
Yeah,
Because you can keep going back to that saying, okay, you get another sticker.
yeah,
There's 3 chances,
yeah.
3
Okay.
times.
Yeah, and maybe by the end of the night, they only got 1 sticker and you're not putting the card in the box. Yeah, right? You're a big meanie. Yeah, I'll say you guys decide. I mean, and I'd say make it up. You're the one that's having the fun, right? I don't know, I think handing out stickers.
The only problem I see with making up our own rubric
Oh.
is that, well, I volunteer, she told me that if I get 1, I get that up, and you're saying I need 2 to do, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say, honestly, I'm not going to enforce how you want to do this.
Okay.
I'm sorry, maybe if your rules are stricter than the next person,
I think
then,
it'll just teach them that with different tutors, there's different expectations.
Just like different learning
Yeah.
processes. I mean, you have to have some flexibility.
and when we go through the training for this too, and I don't know if you guys remember me saying this, give these out every single night if a kid has earned them, but only if they've earned them. So you're making that decision. And again, I don't feel like I want to enforce it, because you're going to make those decisions on what works for you with that kid while you're working through this. Because some people might be a little more strict, or the other way. Hand them out easily. Yeah, Claudia, you're strict, you can. Any more questions about this? Yeah, this is going to be fun, guys. I'm excited. So, Ann?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have 5 more minutes?
Okay.
And I would love it if you would just give me some examples of some issues maybe that you've had with a student, and we could work individually.
Hey, we probably have till 4:10 or 4:15
Okay.
if you have the time.
Great,
So,
great. So give me an example of a student, of a behavior that you find kind of challenging to deal with, or a particular student. You don't have to say their name, just the scenario.
Oh, there's this one. Oh, go ahead.
Go, you can.
No, I was just thinking, I've just worked with him maybe once or twice, and he was all over the place and wanting to do this and that in games, and I felt really hard on him, but he seemed okay to be able to do what I tell him to do.
You just need to move around a lot. That's very common. Play-Doh will help with that. And that would even keep them in a seat longer. But just moving, and because Play-Doh is so pliable and kind of hard to squish, that satisfies the body's need to move, and you're containing them in a chair. If you use Play-Doh, that student, I guarantee, will be less likely to be at least out of a seat.
I'm going to add something too, Ann. We're going to try to get the little squishy balls in here by Monday too. We kind of looked around, and yeah, but so if the kid is a little jumpy and you want to just give him the squishy ball to hold or manipulate while you're working on, so.
I think though, most of the kids I have, I mean, they're well behaved. I mean, it's just they may have some attention, and you just got to rein it in, figure out some way to.
So your masters are doing this already. These are just the extra things. Exercise is another thing. Bending and touching toes, or even stand up, sit down.
I
Would
have
that
them
be
go
an
get
appropriate
books.
exercise? Just so you're not
Just
running around.
they go get a book, or they'll go get crayons, or they'll go get something. Instead of me doing it, I let them go do it, and it feels like they have some.
And what is that? It's a break. It's a little teeny break. That's all they need. Exercises in your chair, touching toes, side bends, putting something on the floor and picking it up, putting it on the table. You can be really creative even in your seat. Side arm stretches, stretches this way, feet out, pointing toes, flex, point, flex, bringing legs up like this and stretching that way. Lots of things you can do in your chair and a lot of movement too. And if you've got some control over it, then you're more likely to easily go, okay, that was 10, now let's finish. Instead of having if he's running around. But that's very common. That's not abnormal for kids to need to move.
And boys.
Exactly. So good for you. It doesn't seem like you're very aggravated. It seems like you're just like, that's what I do, and I just have to redirect them. And that attitude is perfect. They just have that. They can't help it. And they're not, boys, these kids that are very active are not doing that to make you crazy. Their bodies have to move. It's torture to try to force a kid. It feels like it's torture for them if they have to hold their body still. And if you're telling a student, sit still, sit in your seat, put your feet down, they have to concentrate on doing that, they're less likely than to concentrate on the reading and the math task. For students with those types of needs, they have to concentrate to sit still. You don't want them concentrating on that, you want them concentrating on the reading and the math. So let them move. But you can shape that. You can move with Play-Doh or move with the exercises. So that's a good one. What kind of student?
Oh, yeah, I wanted to know, with, when students start having a good relationship with you, they start confiding in you with things that go on at home or other things like that. I guess my question would be, how would I address, because what I've noticed with a couple of my students is, how would I address self-esteem issues? Because that comes up a lot, oh, well, when they don't understand something or I feel dumb, just a lot of self-esteem issues. So I want to know how to best address stuff like that.
And that tells me too that student is very attached to you to reveal that kind of information. It's pain that is revealing to you. The best thing to do is totally reinforce the kid. Every single opportunity that you have, 50 times throughout your tutoring session, you did that so well. Look at that beautiful handwriting. You are so smart. Your math facts you're getting better. You're getting faster. Oh my gosh, that's brilliant. You are amazing. And you feel like a parrot, but that's what he needs. That's what he's basically asking for. A confirmation from you that he's not a failure. And that's a kid who trusts you to let you know that that's what he needs.
And another question I had was when they confide in you about problems at home. I guess I'm a little worried about. I listen and I try to understand, but I'm a little worried about what would be the best way to talk to them about that problem that they're having at home. So,
and I would say to make sure that they know that they can trust adults. They can always come to you. They can always come to Joy. They can talk to a teacher.
That's a good. Let staff know too if you have
if it's a serious. But even just listening, if you don't know what advice to give, just listening is helpful.
Okay.
And you can just say, you can even reiterate, that is a hard problem. And I bet you're having a tough time dealing with that. I totally understand.
Okay.
Because you really don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about exactly, like what to say. So just, reiterating that, I understand and that it's hard.
Active listening.
Okay.
And if it's a thing that you're concerned about, anything to do with safety or abuse, that's when you talk to Joy.
Okay.
We've had in the past where we've known families that haven't had food at home. We have a relationship with the food bank, so we've done a lot of that, and we have a pretty broad network with the services that are available in the community. So if it's something, like legal or, just if the family needs help or if it's housing, we can get them hopefully the resources or at least to the right people with the resources.
Question.
Is it okay for us to reward the kid? Like last time I gave the kid that I have a candy. And then I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. But I mean, I had a candy in my purse.
Totally do that.
And then I was
I'm
like,
totally okay with that.
I was having a hard time because he doesn't even like the cards anymore.
Sure.
He's like, whoa, you already gave me one. What else am I gonna get? You know, like, it's one of those kids that they have to go to the next level. Like, you know, the card is not fun for me anymore. So I was like, okay, I have a surprise for you in my purse. And I just got that out of my, out of nowhere.
You like give him a 20 or something? No, I'm just kidding.
That would do it.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and he's like, what is it? I'm like, I'm not gonna tell you. It's supposed to be a surprise, so you have to do it. So he was like, okay, I have to just to see what it is. So I had like a little candy, like the
Mint or something.
Yeah, a mint.
Yeah.
And he was like, just to see the candy. He was like, oh yeah. Like that was like, oh my god, that was probably inappropriate, but I did already. So
Well, now you have a list of things. Okay, now the next time you finish this, we're gonna do a game. I'm not gonna tell you what game. You gotta finish your work, and then we're gonna do a game.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna tell you. And then you've got about 3 or 4 different games. If he likes games,
Yeah.
if you run out of games, email me. I give you a list.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a kid pretty easily motivated with new things.
Yeah.
So, and the way that you are, all mysterious and excited, perfect. Perfect. That's a perfect attitude to have to get them engaged, and you just have to start gathering your more resources.
Yeah.
Ideas.
So it's okay for us to give them presents
As long
and
as
stuff
it's
like.
appropriate, I'll
Yes.
say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to watch allergies, but you know, I don't know, is that something?
Well, I usually like
Kids mostly know.
or like it's like candy. Like who is allergic to candy? You know, like with things that have nuts or like really elaborate food. Like I don't think I'll never give them that, but a little toy or you know sometimes I grab something from them. I even give them to my neighbors and stuff or my dog.
You can go to the Salvation Army or the Habitat store. Looks like I went somewhere, and you can find all kinds of little things that don't cost very much in there. Some of them are new,
Yeah.
and that works well. And I do pencils,
Uh-huh.
stickers. But
Or
I
little
wa-
things to put on their
Right.
pencil toppers.
I want to share something that just kind of has blossomed. It wasn't intended for that, but I've been working on puzzle with my student, and I brought my timer to see how long it took him to do the puzzle, and then I said, "You think you can do the puzzle in maybe a minute less?" You know, and that was real exciting to him. But he loves having that timer out, and it's turned into math because he wants to play with it, and then he wants to do the minutes, and he suggested, "Let's count it as we do it." So he's looking, number recognition. It's one of the quiet times. It's not one of the ones not the kind that tick, because that drives me crazy. But it's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, they tie it into the reading and the math as well. That's awesome. Way to go. So timers, yeah, and there's all kinds of different timers. There's digital, there's clicker things that you can use as a timer, there's visual timers.
We have stopwatches.
That might be a really nice
phone.
tool.
On your cell phone. Everybody has.
Excellent. Does anybody else have any specific examples? I was working with, tell me your name again? Tyler, and with a student. Tyler is awesome to watch. I mean, awesome. So this little guy was totally getting very kind of bored with the activity, despite Tyler's wonderful efforts to redirect, and we could just tell he was getting kind of bored. We noticed that he needed to count. Like he really needed, he was missing a couple numbers, wasn't he? What was he doing? So both of us are like, we didn't even talk. Tyler's just intuitive. So we started counting, and he starts getting bored with that. We took an eraser and started tossing the eraser, and he had to say a number. And by the end of the session, he practiced about 15 or 20 times. And his behavior did get a little hyper. Do you agree?
Yeah.
How did that feel?
It was a little bit difficult, but I mean, we were still being productive.
Absolutely. So don't worry about losing a little bit of control. Did it feel to you like you were losing a little bit of control when he was laughing hysterically, but he was on task? So it was so much fun for him that he's just laughing and he's joking and he's louder, so you feel like, oh gosh, he's getting ready to be disruptive, I'm gonna lose it, but he was counting, which is exactly what Tyler wanted him to do and exactly the practice that he needed to do. And it really wasn't too hard to get him kind of focused back.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. But Tyler was all, you know, such a dedicated tutor, and we started this game and I think he did phenomenal. And so even if some of these games do hype the kids up, they're getting their energy back. They're getting that motivation back. So it might be a little bit louder or you feel a little bit out of control, but they're learning and they're excited about it. And if you can get them then to refocus with that renewed motivation, that's what you want. That's redirection.
That's okay, but like the kid that I have, like I said, is not the kind of kid that likes to do things normally. He's like, sometimes he's like screaming and we're laughing loud. And sometimes the kids are like, why guys you are laughing out so loud? And I'm like, I don't know, it makes me feel bad because I'm like, maybe we're not allowed to do that either. But he's the way he's like, okay, give me another one.
See?
Give me another word.
And some kids are naturally loud. That's who they are. And think culturally too. A lot of people in this, tutors and tutees are different culturally. Some of our cultures have taught us to be quiet when we're learning and silent. Other cultures are not like that. So culturally there are differences that we have to accommodate for. And kids learn when they're loud and engaged and having fun too. Indeed. So I'm sure that Joy's objective is to get kids focused if they're a little bit loud in that endeavor.
Within reason, because we're kind of dealing with noise.
But it sounds like you've got good control. You could redirect, I think, very easily. Or when the kid's loud, you could start whispering and say, Samuel, whisper. But you're not punishing them, you're just kind of doing something different. So I think you definitely have that
Or put
skill.
a pet on it, like, whisper like it's a game.
Yes, yeah.
Something like that.
Absolutely. Or a meditation activity might be appropriate for him. Close your eyes. I'm going to tell you a story. And if he's a football guy, you are on the 50-yard line of the Cleveland Browns football game. I don't, just some kind of activity geared to that student to calm him down a little bit. Great. So thank you again, and thank you all for your amazing work that you do with kids every day. It is so impressive. The minute somebody walks in, like me, from the outside, it is so obvious how happy the kids are and how connected you are with them and how excited they are to be here. And that is after 7.5 hours in school, for them to rush over here and want to be with you and light up when they see your face and sit down and look at what you have to do and they want to tell you about their day. And guys, that is just amazing. So kudos, well done. That's impacting kids' quality of life. So you're doing some very, very amazing work here. It's very impressive. So thank you for sharing with me today.